Hey everybody, welcome back to Guys Home Kitchen Live, the season premiere of season 2, episode 1 of BBQ Beef Brisket. I spent the last 18 hours cooking this amazing 15.5 pound brisket. And of course, with any barbecue adventure, I got thrown some curveballs. I'm sure you'll see them as you go through. One is the fat cap, and you'll see when I start trimming what that looks like and how that was a problem. And two, I woke up and for whatever reason, my barbecue pit decided to get extra hot. So I made the best of the situation. I pulled it off early. You'll see as we walk through this. If you have any comments throughout, just put them in the comment section and I will answer them when we come back for the grand finale, the big reveal of cutting into this amazing 15.5 pound brisket. Other than that, let's get started. Let's get saucy. Welcome back, everybody. I'm really excited for the first episode of season 2. And I want to introduce you to my 15.5 pound brisket that we're going to be smoking overnight tonight. It is now a little after 9, and we're going to start trimming it and seasoning it, and then get it on the pellet grill, and it'll go all overnight. And then in the morning, I'm going to wrap it in butcher paper, same butcher paper that you see here. And then it's going to continue to go until it's the perfect tenderness. Let it rest, and I'm going to show you live. We're going to open that baby up and cut right into it. So the reason I bought a 15.5 pound brisket instead of maybe a 12 pound brisket that they had at the store is because of the flat. So this part is the flat. This part, this big piece here is the point. This thin piece here is the flat. The flat's very lean. The point is very moist. Those are kind of the cliff notes on it. The reason why I bought the 15.5 pounds is because of this. In these smaller cuts, you see how thin this is right here? This whole area is this thin, and we're gonna end up cutting that off. So if I bought a 12.5 pound, 13 pound brisket, I'm gonna cut a lot more off on that just because of the thinness here, because I don't want, this will end up burning. I mean, we put this on overnight. This is gonna dry out and be nothing. I mean, that has to come off. Where on this side, you can see we got a nice thick piece of brisket there. So that's why I bought the 15.5 pound brisket. More than I need, but it'll cook better. So we're gonna first start by trimming up the edges. So there are competition cuts, and then there are simple cuts for the house, which is what we're doing tonight. I don't cook for competitions, I cook for flavor. I cook for simplicity, so this is what we're just gonna do. And I do this all the time this way, it's totally fine. So basically, first we're going to trim up this edge. We're just gonna come straight down like this. Okay. This just gets the oxidated pieces off and makes a nice even edge, and we're going to discard that. A lot of trimming, a lot of waste with brisket, but it's you can't use that. So I'm going to turn this around for you and do the other side. Same thing. Right down the side. Just like this. Make sure you have a nice sharp knife for this. Okay, now we get the sides cut. We're going to trim this back around, and we're going to trim off the ends here. I like to, when I cut the flat side, end side here, since I have a nice thick piece here, I'm only going to take a little bit off of that, but I'm just going to kind of around the corner, just like that. That's all we really need to take off. And on this side, I'm going to come in just right around here because this is really thin. So this is coming off. See? That's how much I took off of the flat. It's really thin. So weight-wise, I didn't really take off a lot. But when the whole thing is like that, I mean, you kind of kill it. So this is our shape tonight. Everyone's always a little different depending upon that flat, and that's okay. You know, you just work with the meat you got. So now we're gonna take off, I'm gonna tackle this last, this is the point. We're gonna take off this big, so this side is the meat side, this side is the fat side. I'm gonna the fat side last, okay? So the meat side we're gonna trim till we see the meat, because this is the side that's gonna give us a really nice bark, that deep, dark brown, light, you know, nice crust, like a nice charred steak. And you need the meat to do that, plus your seasoning. Okay, so we'll trim off this over here. This is about the most amount of work you're gonna have to do with a brisket, is this step right here. Once we get on to the seasoning, it's super, super fast and simple. And the smoker really does all the work after that. All it is about process and technique. So I'm just gonna trim up as much. I don't have to go crazy, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay guys, I mean, it's gonna taste good no matter what. But I just wanna show you. Okay, I think you get the point. So this chunk of fat here, you can see it goes here, and I'm grabbing, it's like this big chunk that's coming out. So we're gonna get right in here. Take this off. See that? There's nothing but fat. And that's not the fat that's gonna render. It's not gonna be good. So that's coming out. Okay. Okay, there we go. Flip it over for you. And again, over here, we're gonna cut off most of this. Hand got slippery from the fat. Slipped. Okay. Let's finish this bad boy. See all this? It's still fat. All fat still. Once we get this on the smoker overnight, it's gonna kind of shrink and plump, so it won't look this awkward coming off. Okay, I think, call it right there. Okay, let's do the fat cap now. So, This is the fat cap. It's actually a really important part of the cut when cooking because this is going to provide a layer of protection against the heat source, kind of like a shield, basically. So this particular one actually does not have a lot, which is not a good thing, actually, because this top layer of fat on this is not edible. I mean, it won't render, it's going to be chewy. Once you get under it, it's more really bright white and pillowy type of fat. That's going to render and that'll be nice. But unfortunately, this one's going to be tough. So just do our best. So we're just going to take some off. I'm really just taking just this top bad layer off. I'm not really trying to go too deep with this. This is the first time I actually had one that had not much of a fat cap. Like actually they already did a good job. This is actually the pillowy part right here. It's just not bright white because it was in the vacuum seal. Man, hardly going. And there's the meat right away. All right, well, you get what you get and don't get upset. You can't predict this when you're picking it, unfortunately. I'm actually surprised this is like this. There's hardly anything on here, down here. All right, let's keep going. So when you're at home doing yours, just know you're gonna wanna leave a good layer between the fat and the meat. Roughly 1/4 of an inch, doesn't have to be perfect. A little more is better than a little less. Just make sure you get this first layer off. It sucks for me because there's nothing under it. What are they feeding this thing? Not enough. Okay. I'm doing on this side, there's another piece of chunky fat right here I'm taking off that I found. So I'm just taking this off. Okay, let's do the point. Man, I'm shocked. I like the point anyway, so this will be fine though. All right, so for the point, I'm going to start here. So remember, we cut down here and finish up this side to get this oxidated part off. Like this. Okay. I'm going to take this off. And then face you. So this part of the point has a bunch of fat that I will trim off. But again, don't forget this is our side, so we're not taking it down to the skin like we did, to the meat like we did on the other side. Okay. And then, lastly, let's come straight down here. Like this. Okay, that's it. We're done. We're done with trimming. Okay, I'm going to take a second to throw this out, and when we come back, I'm going to show you how to properly season this, all right? Just give me like a half a second on your end. You're not going to see much. See you in a second. Okay, so now it's time to season this. My favorite way is salt and pepper, and my secret ingredient, which I'm going to tell you in a second. But before I do, I want you to ask yourself, have you ever eaten Doritos? Because if you have, you've eaten my secret ingredient. Okay, so here it is. 50-50 salt, pepper, coarse pepper, and a little bit of umami seasoning, which is a fancy word for savory flavor, which is also known as MSG. Okay, so this is what we're using. It comes out 10 times better when you add that umami. That's the secret ingredient. You want to go from good to great with a piece of beef, add a little MSG. And don't be afraid of it. It's just like salt, okay? So what you want to do is do an even coat. So that's the key with this, is just an even coat, okay? You don't want clumps. Now the fat side, it's a little bit more forgiving because it's gonna be down on the heat source and you're not really gonna see it. The presentation side is always the other side. So start with the fat side so you get your practice in, right? Basically, you're just gonna go back and forth. And have a nice even coat. Okay. And that's it for the side, for this top here. That's enough for that. Then we'll flip it over. Okay. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side, just like this. Back and forth, and we're done. Okay, now I'm gonna go slightly heavy on the fatty pieces because the seasoning does not penetrate fat, it only penetrates meat. Okay. And that looks good. That, okay. So we are almost finished. I'm just gonna hit the sides. Boom, 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 boom. A boom, 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 boom. A boom, 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 boom. I'm gonna hit this side. A boom, 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 boom. And that's all fat right there, so go a little bit heavier. Okay, we're done seasoning. I'm going to put this in my pan, and I'll meet you outside. We're gonna put it right in the pellet grill right about now. All right, we're outside. It is nearly 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. Eastern time, and what a really good, beautiful night in Orlando. We're gonna put the brisket on, and we're gonna shut it and leave it for the whole night, okay? I have my pellet grill. This is my preferred vessel tonight. I've done them all. I've done stick burners, the offset smokers. I've done the electric smokers, the pellet grills, the Weber set up as a smoker, the Weber kettle set up as a smoker, and this is my favorite for two reasons. One, it is super simple. You basically set it to where you want it. I have it at 225 right now. This is what we're gonna do overnight. In the morning, when I show you and wrap it, I'm gonna actually bump that up to 240 until it finishes cooking. Okay, so it's like an oven, in my opinion, but with a smoke chamber in it, and I'm not ashamed. I mean, in the barbecue community, sometimes this is frowned upon, but in my opinion, those are small-minded rookies that think you can't have barbecue unless if you do the stick burner, but that's all BS in my opinion. Two, I've done an A/B test. I've done a blind taste test between this and a stick burner, and this has won every single time. So simple and better, can't beat it. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I've set to 225. I'm keeping the shut until I'm ready to actually put it on because I don't want the heat to escape. So for my pellet grill, it's hotter over here and cooler over here underneath, okay? So I made a mistake the first time. The first time I cooked this, I had it on this side because inside the air temperature, this is a little hotter and this is a little cooler because the way this works is there's pellet. This is all pellets right here, okay? These are all pellets. Let me show you. Can you see that? Can you see that? It's sawdust that is compressed into these little cylinder, the pellets in, and it's lit, and there's a fan that's blowing on it to keep it lit, and then it just slowly feeds it in to keep the temperature. And Mine sits right here, so the heat, the flame comes up here, hits the plate, and then the flow of the air comes up and around this way and out the back. Okay, so the air flows like this. So by the time the air comes over the plate, it's hotter over here. But the plate is actually hotter here. So the first time I did this, I thought, all right, well, I'll keep it over here where the air is cooler. But what I ended up doing is it ended up burning the bottom. And when I went to go cut it, it was just like, it was really hard. Okay? So, lesson learned, I did it over here where the bottom is not so hot, even though the air is a little hotter, but I have it set to 225, so it's fine. It may be 240 over here and 225 over here. All right, so whatever. And then that came out perfect. All right, so I'm going to be placing mine here. Some pellet grills feed into the center. Okay. So you really just, one of the things with barbecue is you got to do it a few times to learn your equipment and know where, the sweet spots are. And then it'll just get better every time. Okay. So I'm going to put mine with the point facing this way because the plate is hottest here. So that's what I'm actually taking into consideration here. So I open it up and we're going to drop it in just like this. Okay, that's it. Close it. It's going to stay like that until I wake up. Whether that's 7 o'clock, 7:30, 6:30, 8, whatever, it doesn't really matter. You don't have to do it to the exact time. Got a plane coming over, so I'm not sure if it's picking up or not. But anyway, I'll explain this when I come back in the morning. Until then, I'm going to have a good sleep. And for you guys, I'll see you in a split second. It's 7 a.m. and I just woke up and I'm about to wrap the brisket. And I opened it up and I'm really excited about it. So I wanted to show you guys this. Check this out. Ready? Look at that. Whoa. That's the bark. That's the bark right there. So I'm going to get this wrapped, put it right back on. Alright, I got the brisket back in the house. We're going to now wrap it in butcher paper. I wanted to show this to you guys. Look at the bark on that. Can you see that in the camera? Look at that bark. It's really good. This is actually further along in tenderness than it usually is by this point, which is okay. All that means it's going to take a little less time when I put it back on the grill. And also because of that, I'm not going to raise the temperature. I'm going to leave it because I think I told you earlier I'm going to raise the temperature, but this is barbecue. You got to just go by feel and adjust. So because it's really tender, I'm going to leave it. All right, so right now I'm rolling out some butcher paper. The reason we're doing this is because butcher paper is porous and allows, it will hold the moisture in, but it'll allow the steam to escape so you don't steam your meat. And if we're wrapping foil, that's basically the effect you get is like steaming your meat. So I'm going to wrap it in pink butcher paper and put it right back on the grill. Now the key with wrapping is you want to get it as tight as possible. Okay, so just making a nice tight package. And we're rolling. Okay. That's it. That's all to it. So I'm going to put this back on the grill, and when it's ready to come out, I'm going to show you what I do next. See you in a little bit. All right, it is 12 hours in So it's roughly 9:30 local time here. And I'm going to take this off because it's done. So if you notice, I haven't cooked, I've been really paying attention to time and giving you time reference so you know how long it's taken. And I haven't even put a thermometer in here because I'm cooking for tenderness. You see, like this is tender. Like when you could just lift it up and go like that, it's ready, okay? So what you're gonna wanna do is take this right out from there, put it into a cooler with a towel, just like this. And then you just cover it up. Okay, so it's nice and insulated. And let it go until you're ready for dinner. So it's 9:30. We're going to be doing the show at 6, so it's about 8.5 hours. It will last. I've done 7, 8 hours before, and it's been totally fine. So minimum 2 hours. Whenever you want to do the resting phase, you're always going to want to do minimum 2 hours in the cooler. The longer, the better. So I'll see you at 6 o'clock tonight. Well, you're probably watching this, so it's already 6 o'clock tonight. And what we're going to do is I'm going to bring this in, let it rest, and then we're going to cut into it. I'm going to see how great it is. I'll see you soon. All right, 7 hours later, and we got our brisket. It's time to cut into this bad boy. But there was a question in the comments, which was, what was it, guy?
How do you know how much fat to cut off?
How do you know how much fat to cut off? So it depends. It's not how much to cut off, it's how much to leave. So you want to leave around 1/4 of an inch on the fat cap. As you saw with my particular cut, there wasn't much, so I didn't really cut much off. That's unfortunate, but it would have made a better cook if I did have fat to leave on. But leave just about 1/4 inch. A little bit more is fine. A little bit more is better than a little less. But that's about it. Any other questions before we get into this?
Not right now.
All right. So, ready to unwrap this? Vito, come here.
Yeah.
I got my official taste tester here. Want to introduce yourself?
Hi.
Hi. Talk to him.
Hi.
What's your name?
Vito.
Vito. Okay. You're the
Official taste tester.
official taste tester. All right. So let's unwrap this. Ready?
Of season 2.
Of season 2 and season 1.
1.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. It's the big reveal. And we got Vincent. Come on, Vincent. All right. Look at that. Look at that. Would you look at that?
Would you look at that?
Would you look at that? Okay. So remember, this is the flat. This is the point. If you remember in the beginning, I said I had 2 curveballs thrown my way. One was a fat cap, which I already explained. The other was my pellet grill malfunctioned overnight, and I woke up to a temperature of 270 degrees. So it cooked. The reason why it was very tender when I took it off the grill to begin with, it's because it cooked a little hotter, so it just had a lesser of a cook, lesser time of a cook. But it's okay, it's still good. So here we go. We got the flat and we got the point. The flat runs this way in grains, and the point runs this way in grains. So when we cut it, we're gonna cut the flat, because the grains run this way in the flat, we're gonna cut it this way. And the point, what'd you say? Can't wait to try it. And then the point, we're gonna cut it this way. So first, I'm going to separate the two. Right here. Okay. Yeah, let's look at this. Ooh, yeah. Look at that.
That's saucy.
Look at that. Look at that. That looks really good. Okay, you guys want to taste it?
Yeah. Which one? Which one?
We're gonna taste. So my favorite is the point. So we're gonna test it. We're gonna taste the point tonight, okay?
Sounds good to me.
Very tender. Okay, here we go. That's for you,
Thank you.
and that's for you. What do you guys think?
Very chewy.
Can you describe it?
It's chewy.
It's chewy. It's tender. Tastes good. All right. What do you think, Vito?
Good.
Good. All right, let me try. Oh yeah.
That's nice.
That's you can have more as soon as the show's over. Okay. What we're gonna do right now is cut up a quick sandwich. So I'm gonna take a piece from right here, another one right here. Okay. We're making a sandwich, so this is how you. So you can eat brisket straight up, or you can eat it as a sandwich. Okay. So we're going to. What I like to do is get it all like this. Okay. So remember I told you cooked hot and there was no fat cap? This is why the bottom's all crusty. It's okay. This is how we eat the point on a sandwich anyway. So here we go. What you do, yeah, look at this. Look how juicy that is. You see that?
Yeah.
What we're gonna do
Sauce.
is we're gonna take it, put it right on there like that. Okay? And then put it on the plate. Okay?
Let me eat it.
And look, you gotta put the grease in the bun. That's how you know you're having barbecues, when you get a greasy bun like that. Who likes their buns greased?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna put,
like that when I go in the shack.
yeah, we're gonna put 2 types of barbecue sauce in here. This first one is a mustard-based sauce. I didn't make the mustard-based sauce, but it's one of my favorites. And this one is a vinegar-based sauce. And I like the combo because it gives it different contrast and color, and the flavor profiles work very well together. Okay, and that's it. We got ourselves barbecue brisket. All right, guys, I'll see you next week. Next week we're doing meatloaf. Until then, stay saucy.